brain. But some people only get even a very tiny part, and they have devastating effects. So because we are all wired differently.
We are. This was my third major concussion, but because I had been abused growing up with my mother hitting me in the head, that is why I have the global damage. It finally showed up on an MRI. It was brought to the surface from the impact.
No.
It all depends, like you said, on the part of the brain. You can have a little accident and really be impaired because it all depends on which part of the brain gets a lot of the damage.
Mm-hmm. And like you said, if you had before, and maybe, so there's a cushion in all organs, which some functionality people can lose, but still able to function. But once you kind of miss the critical portion, or once you kind of hit the reserves, then, you will see a lot of deficits happening. And that's what happens, same with the brain, But good news is, like, the body has amazing capability of healing. But main thing is we have to stay positive and keep working on it. It takes time, patience, a lot of patience, with a nerve injury, brain injury, or stroke patients. But they do, if you look at data 6 months, 1 year, 2 years down the road, they improve to much better what they had. Which is good news, right?
Yes, it is. Like my therapist said, your memory has a history. It will eventually remember it. And I was reading in a book that when your brain is damaged, it starts working immediately to take the synapses, start working, the neural pathways, the axons, the neurons. They're all working to find a new way to healthy tissue. So it's very important for us to stimulate our brain a little bit to help it along. And also neuroplastic exercises have helped a lot.
Okay. Well, tell me, we have learned a lot about some of the music therapy and others with brain injuries. Did you find it helpful?
Yes, classical music, because it uses both sides of the brain. I found that meditation music very soft, and it depends on what time of day, but I listen to it and it will help calm my brain down.
Okay.
And so that way I can rest, and that way it can do the healing it needs to do, and I'm relaxing, and that also helps healing.
Okay, good. Okay, so also that is gonna really work great for you, because the music is very good. We have seen with a lot of injuries, and then that it has a very good effect on the brain neurons.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then it helps to build, and not to mention some of the memory portions, because you listen to the music, you remember. And language, you were saying you were having difficulty with certain languages, portion that you couldn't make sense out of those words, right? So
right.
And that music probably has more of simple tones, so probably it will definitely help you a lot. And you're working with therapists, that is great. So, thank you for coming and sharing your experience, and we wish you really well and keep improving, and come back later and update us how things are still going. Thank you for bringing up the awareness on TV. A lot of people don't understand that, the brain, we are gifted with so many things, but we don't realize till we lose certain portion that how gifted we were, So, and we keep working on that for you, and hope that things keep better and better for you. So any final thoughts you have for my audience?
Well, just like the doctor said, be patient. Don't be hard on yourself. Don't give up on yourself. And word find programs, crossword puzzles are great for rebuilding your word recall. And don't get upset that you might not be able to recall a word because I went through that. It's like, that's a word. Just know that through persistence that you can get better.
That is true. And thank you, and good luck. And hopefully you'll keep improving and come back and update us and our audience. And take care. Thank you for coming to our show.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye.
Hi, I am Sherry Nelson, and I hope you keep watching and enjoying Lifestyle TV Channel USA.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Lifestyle with Dr. Moby. I'm Dr. Moby, and guess we are so lucky in 2020 that we have Nicole back with us for part 2 of her great story about her book. And let's welcome Nicole back. Nicole, how are you?
I'm great. I'm just happy New Year. It's the last day of 2020, so we're doing it right with the podcast here with Dr. Moby.
Yes, well, there are a lot of things, happened in 2020, and I had earlier one podcast, and we wanted to, maybe let me ask you about that since we talked a little bit about 2020. So tell me about, I know 2020 was a kind of very different year for many reasons, but tell me how Nicole views 2020.
2020 was horrible for so many people. And we were all faced with so many challenges and fears and loss and devastation.
Mm-hmm.
I personally did lose some loved ones to the virus, and I lost gainful employment to the virus, which allowed me to focus on my writing. So there was something good I could focus on while we trudged through this year. So I went full-time into the writing world, and there I found an exciting new group of wonderful people in the writing community, and a lot of people out there to help others. And that's one of the things I wanted to talk to you about today. There are just so many people who just want to lend a hand, want to help you out, want you to if you're searching to do better, they're there to help you to do so. There's also people out there who are trying to, put their hands in your pocket and take your money. So you have to, when you come across the people that are wonderful and just trying to help and genuinely interested in writers and writing and stuff like that, it's just a wonderful feeling. So, and that's in turn how I came to be on this podcast, was from CJ Lopez. She runs the Author Studio, and she prepped me for my first interview when I had the local paper here because I was nervous, knowing I write women's fiction and it's not always for anyone or everyone, but I do write to inspire and entertain and empower women. So in my own way, I feel like I'm helping women as well through my writing and my words. I find that my readers find that they're relatable, and there's always positive outcome within my stories for people who've been knocked down, who are able to triumph and get back up and live a great life. So following all of the adventure and everything like that, life doesn't always run that smoothly, especially in years like the one we're having this year. And I think it's just the way you ride it. And I've had a lot of really great time to expand on the writing, maybe start a new career here in the writing field, helping other writers.
And I think, if we look back, I think you're saying great things about, writers and young writers or new writers, which are never had writing experience, which include myself too. I have only one book. Although I've rewritten this book 3 times, but, that points to that same thing. We all go. This first book, I got feedback. It was on, Amazon, and the good thing, there's the pros and cons of Amazon and so forth. You can correct it anytime, so which is great because you might change the design, you might change the colors, you might change this or that. But this wouldn't be possible if it was a book version. But by the way, I have the book ones too, and I could change that. So I've changed the color into 3 times. We had to come up with 3 different versions because some people said it's too expensive. They couldn't afford it. $20 they won't
Your
pay.
formatting, make it smaller. Yeah.
Smaller, lighter page. The page is, so you change the page from white, fine, nice colored, beautiful page to just, average page.
The cream font is actually the way to go with readers as well. It's easier to handle. It's less expensive, and it's not as heavy.
Okay, so I had, but there's a difference between the glazed paper and how the pictures. So my book has some because it's about diet, and when people look at a certain dish, they want to be really feeling thirsty or hungry about the food. I mean, if I put black and white, nobody would do that. So, but I had to do black and white because people couldn't afford it. So that's half the price of the book, which is different from the normal book. And then the Kindle, of course, or those. What I find is the advantage. My experience being is the advantage. You can change many times. You can change fonts. You can change paper. You can change even the hard copy or the regular copy. And I did like 3 versions of same. So then I dubbed it in Spanish. I have also in Arabic. So I realized there are a lot of the books in one language, but my experience was there were a lot of people with minorities, especially Spanish. They have not many books. So my advice to you, maybe you should think of Spanish version. Okay, have somebody change it to Spanish, and then maybe that is my advice. I found that I have a lot of Spanish, and they say we don't want English book, we want Spanish book. So I had to put Spanish books on. What do you think about that?
As far as what I've written, I don't think it would adapt well in another language.
Okay.
It's maybe it would. I'd have to look into that.
I mean, I can tell you what you told me.
That's the very first time I've heard that, so I'm trying to take it in.
Yeah. Well, think about it. The reason I'm saying is because what a story I think we went over that with our episode number one, and the story was actually very fascinating, and the whole concept, everything. You won't be surprised if I tell you that a lot in my culture. I'm from Pakistan. There are a lot of literature there has very similar kind of stories. Then they'll so romantic. I always find it
Right.
fascinating. I always find that universal language. So romance is universal language, and so I have heard French stories. I have heard Spanish, Arabic, and so I hear all those, and it's fascinating the way they express it. That could be different, you know. But the pretty much it's quite a universal language. So because your topic is so universal and has such a universal appeal, so that's why I thought maybe that's my time. So
I'll try it in the UK first.
yeah.
I do actually have scenes in Mexico in the book. Um, in most of my books, there are scenes in Mexico. I live 10 minutes from the border, so I've spent a lot of time in Mexico.
Oh, okay. So that pretty much.
Yeah, so I'm pretty familiar with
So
Mexico.
the other question is, how can we support, the community of new authors? I think we talked. Should we have some kind of club, book club, or some kind of? Uh,
Um, you mean when I was talking about my business that's starting up? It's called the Storytellers Review Room,
mhm,
and it's a read and critique resource. So there will be workshops of small groups,
mhm,
um, read and critique classes with open genre and fiction,
mhm,
and people will be shuffled around to see where they fit in the beginning.
mhm,
However, these submissions tend to work well when people have opposing genres, because there's also opposing opinions. So
mhm.
you get people who are familiar with your genre, but you also get a totally opposite opinion. So I find that it works when you work with a diverse group. So it will be small Zoom um, meetings once a week, and people will submit their work, and there'll be a maximum of 5 people per class. And all 5 authors work on each other's work. So by fixing other people's mistakes, you also realize that you're making the same mistakes, but you also help them find the plot holes that are missing in their stories. A lot of times writers get so far into their heads and their creativity, they can see what's happening, but sometimes they don't put it out on the page for the reader to see, and they get left out. It's like leaving someone out on a secret. So when you get extra sets of eyes, a lot of people use beta readers, a lot of people use alpha readers, but this is more from the very beginning of the book, the developmental phase of the book, the first draft, so that you get people who are like, wait a minute, how did we get to here from there? We missed something here. And then you go, oh yeah, just takes a sentence. I need to fill that, I need to write that down. Reading critique has been the biggest tool that I use to develop my writing. And it also these groups are social in nature, and considering the state of the world right now, we also respect anonymity, but I've made friends in read and critique groups that I've had for a decade, and the only people who really, really like to talk about writing are writers. So this is the best place to do it. Plus, I've also accrued a little family of editors and book designers and podcasts and hosts and different ways to develop. If you're an indie, if you're publishing an independent novel, there's so many resources out there that a lot of people haven't even clicked into yet, and I'm going to absolutely bestow this knowledge upon anybody who asks it of me. I wish I had someone who had been through these steps helping me out. I don't get that from some of the classes that I've attended. I've attended some publishing classes, and just by being in the trenches is where you learn the ins and outs. And there's also another side of it. There's, you know, whether to stay on Amazon or to go wide. So that's a big thing that people need to decide what they're going to do. It doesn't matter what, it's all a lot of work. So another thing about the writing community is we all respect how much we put into this, what we're doing, when a lot of people see very little end result. So it is a passion. You know, it has to be your passion, or it's, you know, you take your chances out there, and it's a needle in a haystack type situation.
Tell me also, you know, is how the marketing aspect is. Are you gonna? I know with COVID, it has changed everything. You know, there was time, of course, you could do a book tour, or you could stop back at the mall and have autographed copies or something. So, do you have something on that lines for marketing?
I do have a book signing. It's been pushed back to just January 17th here in San Diego. However, unfortunately for the indie bookstores all across the United States, big bad Amazon has taken over. And, you know, it's put a lot of small book stores in the ground. So for indie authors looking to market, there's a million different ways to get your books out there now. Most bookstores don't take independently published books anyway. So your chance of getting into a bookstore are very rare. As far as independently published books, you can put them out. You have to do the work. You have to do the advertising. You have to do the footwork. You don't have somebody doing it for you. And honestly, I know people who've been traditionally published and have published their own work, and they do better with the independently published work because they know how much work they're putting the work into it. What you do is you list it on Amazon, you list it on Barnes and Noble, you list it on Goodreads, you list it on BookBub, you list it on, I've got a list of 30 different places you can put it, apps too. There's also, you know, you can share newsletters, you can do takeovers, there's all these different, you also need to blog your work too, get people interested that way. It's all day long. It's never stopping, and I'm still learning the majority of it right now.
So also tell me a little bit about you know, what helps these you know, we have talked a little bit about marketing. Who did you find helpful, or you know, with your journey so far about the book, you know, the whole
in my own research, I found a bunch of Facebook groups of writers, and actually I would just say just jump in there, folks, and start looking up what you're interested in writing. You know, if you have a certain genre, or if you're interested in self-publishing, or if you're interested in traditional publishing, or you can get onto YouTube and just put in, you know, self-publishing or publishing a book or writing a book. There's a video for everything. You just have to go out there and look. So I joined the groups on Facebook, and these are platforms where you can ask your questions as an independent writer, as a traditionally published writer, what to expect, where do I go, how do I do this? You know, I need an editor, I need a book cover, I need, you know, one very big valuable piece of information I will give to other struggling new writers out there is never ever pay a publisher. Ever. You should never pay a publisher. The only thing you should pay for are is an editor, your ISBN number, your copyright basically, and formatting, and that's it. You don't need to pay. You should not be paying for anything else. if somebody's asking you for money to publish their book, run.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I also paid for editing it, and that's about it. Editing it, and formatting I did mostly myself. Cover design I did myself. ISBN number, that was part of Amazon. Yeah, actually, it didn't cost me as much I've recovered my cost way over. So that is not. But my audience was mostly because it's a medical type health
Right.
book. So those are my patients. I see them every day, every week, and it's right there. They love that. They buy it. So yeah, I mean, I don't need to go out usually to marketing, but I did market on Amazon and ads, but I found what was not helpful was Facebook ads. Those are useless.
Right.
Don't spend.
Some people do have luck with those, and some do not. I haven't tried them yet. But the problem is with this marketing is you have to put money into it to get money out of it, and there are no guarantees.
But I don't think people are afraid of putting money in and out as long as it's gonna get out anything. Problem is, we don't know which one are real. So many times I have some of these marketers, promoters. They promise that they will have these many leads or so forth, but they take the money after. Next thing is nobody knows anything about them. So I had to kind of report to the credit card a couple of times. I mean, I lost not much, but I lost a couple of $100 on that because they took the money and they said they will promote it or prepare that. And the problem is the scammers out there.
Oh, yeah.
And then once they know you are new or you have not published a book, unfortunately, they will take advantage of that.
Yeah, my formatters got me. I spent way too much money on formatting.
Okay, and then I wish we have this kind of podcast or website or group. So we put out, don't do this, like you said, don't go pay publisher this much money, or don't sign any contract which will you end up paying.
Right. Be careful about that too. They'll take your rights.
And then there are a lot of ads on Facebook, social media, everywhere, kind of scamming. So it's be careful and don't spend money. I mean, I don't mind, waiting another year before I make some money or any money. I mean, I think we do for our passion for sure. And then, so that is the other thing I want to ask you about your red flag movement. So tell me a little bit about it.
Oh, the red flag movement? The red flag movement is something that the main character invented or developed in the book. Okay. So it's not something that I did. It's something that my character did. She's an interesting character. It's red flag movement gears towards women's awareness. So if someone's, a lot of people get caught up in passion, get caught up in love, and they don't see the red flags because they're blinded by love. That's why there's that expression. Oh. And so this woman takes steps forward to make sure that other women know when these red flags are right in front of them.
Now, let me ask you, is it good to be blind in love, or is it not good to be blind?
Love is blind. No, that's Shakespeare. Love is blind, therefore winged Cupid is painted blind. That's different. No, blinded by love is different.
Yeah, blinded by love. Yeah. But the question is that the question would always be, would people still love if they are blinded by love or blind in love or blind by whatever? So would they still love if they had eyesight and all kind of stuff? Huh?
Of course. The red flags are coming from people who are telling lies.
Okay, so
these are red flags of people's bad behavior, lies, secrets, things that would be detrimental to some person who's giving their all to another person who doesn't deserve it. There's lots of people deserving of love out there that won't do those things. So absolutely, you can love without being blinded by it.
Or don't worry about red flags, because though there are people who gave bad name to love, but that doesn't mean people should stop loving. What I mean, right? So there are.
Now you sound like Bon Jovi.
Yeah, now it's Bon.
You're quoting Shakespeare. We've got Shakespeare and Bon Jovi on one side.
So
oh my goodness!
Bon Jovi's guitar at the back. So. No, that is so true, but but that's a reality. That's a reality. So tell me also, a lot of people ask me, and I always find it fascinating, why women keep on watching crime shows.
Why women watch crime shows?
Yeah.
I have a friend that loves those. I'm not into them, so I can't answer that. I'm not into the darkness. I feel like life's hard enough as it is. So when you delve into that kind of, I know it exists in our world to a certain, but I don't necessarily need to know about it as my entertainment. Mm-hmm. It's just not something I choose. I choose lighter shows and movies.
But I have a lot of clients too, and patients too, and they love whenever there are female patients. I ask them, what were you watching TV? Oh, I was watching the crime show. I said, what? And then I
don't watch that stuff. It's not good for you.
And then I asked my wife, every time she turns on TV, she watches them too. So I said,
sometimes the mysteries are really intense, though. Yeah. There's the murder shows, like, where they're discovering the murder and the bodies and some of that people find extremely fascinating. So there's that. It plays with the mind, so it gives you a little bit of a workout and takes you on a journey. So I can understand why people enjoy that kind of stuff. I don't care for blood and gore myself.
Okay, so then, I think we are reaching the end of our show. So tell me, any final message for 2021? Let's get rid of
2021. Well, if there are any struggling writers out there who need some accountability or writing buddies, come see me at the Storytellers Review Room. It's a supportive place. We respect your vision. It's done with the very least tactfully. And there'll be other resources if you have other questions. And it's also a social environment. We've met some great people like Dr. Moby here and CJ Lopez and the people over at the book studio doing the book covers. I mean, just doing wonderful people for passionate artists who need the help. So that's what I'm jumping on board with this year, and I hope we have a positive outcome, and people come to us for entertainment, for fun, for development, and that's what 2021 holds for me, hopefully.
So 2021 is hope, and nothing but hope for better future. And that's what I think is gonna be a story always, that yes, we always have difficulties, we always kind of end up a dark side, but there's a bright side of everything, and there's light at the end of the tunnel. Keep walking, have faith. Things will get better. And I think it's like any thunderstorm. When it comes, there are trees which they bend and then they just wait. When the wind dies down, they are erect again and they are back to normal. Right. Or there are trees which unfortunately are uprooted and they will never come back. Sure.
I think you have a very good point there. Yeah. And that's what I always write about. It's there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Things will get better. And I wouldn't depend on just the change in the year for things to change, but it seems like we're approaching some sort of vaccine here, and I think that will change a lot of things for a lot of people. So I'm hoping everyone stays safe and healthy, and find as much happiness as you possibly can, and write lots of books, people. It's good for the brain.
I mean, everything is full of creativity. It's just maybe this is the time to tap into your creativity, because you always had, everybody has, but they were not listening because they were busy outside world.
Mhm.
But now, since outside world is closing down, in terms of we are not as active outside, so maybe spend more time inside and keep writing and join her club, and pay attention to, don't pay publisher or anybody
Yeah, be
advertise.
careful.
So I think writing is not equivalent to spending money, so they are totally different. But stay safe. Prevention is the best, and we'll all survive. Thank you, and take care. Bless 2021. Take care. Thank you, Nicole, for coming.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye.
Hi, I am Sherry Nelson, and I hope you keep watching and enjoying Lifestyle TV Channel USA.
Okay, well, the computer is thinking, so let's. Okay. Okay. Welcome to Lifestyle with Dr. Moby. I'm Dr. Moby, and today we have excellent guest. Her name is Tiffany, and she's an author. Amazing story. Let's welcome Tiffany. Tiffany, how are you doing?
Hello, everybody. I am doing amazing.
Well, thank you for coming to our show. So tell us about your journey. I know you're an author and you have amazing book coming out. I guess, and we have that for the audience at the bottom of the screen, is Unlocking Your Ability to Heal, right?
Yes.
So
and
tell us. Yeah, go ahead.
That is due to come out this year.
Okay, very good, very good. Congratulations. So tell us about some, first of all, about yourself. What do you do? Do you just write, or do you have another work too?
Yeah, I wear very many hats. I'm a homeschooling mom of 3. Been doing that for the past few years. I'm married, living in Utah, and I'm also an entrepreneur. I have a
Very
couple of businesses that I'm trying